You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who once planted evidence so he could make a citizen's arrest, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Nite Lite, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday, everybody. Great to have you with me. Joining me on this overcast, downright chilly Wisconsin evening. I hope it's nicer where you are, but down here up here in downtown Green Bay, it is blustery. And we got to muscle through tonight. Hopefully it'll be nicer this weekend for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day ahead of time to all the dads out there that might be listening. It's an important job and at times thankless. But keeping the faith, folks. Dads, tip of the hat. Konrad is riding shotgun as usual. Do you have a nice Father's Day message for your dad, Konrad?
I do.
Yeah.
And he's not really the Facebook type of person, but I'm sure my mom will show him.
I'm sure he has good qualities too, though.
Yeah. The Facebook thing is understandable, but
yeah.
So my mom, I think, will show him, whenever the message goes out. Yeah.
But he listens. He texts the show, right?
Yeah. But I'm saying whenever Amanda posts that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So we had some fun in the studio today, didn't we?
We did. We had Todd Alba was here.
Yeah.
It was fun to be a guest on Todd's show. We have him on Nite Lite quite a bit, and he's had me on several times. I always enjoy hanging out with Todd. And, yeah, you were here. You produced that show, too, or helped produce it, I suppose.
They started the show with having Mino and the mayor.
Really?
Here. Yeah.
At 2 o'clock?
Yep.
What were those guys still doing here?
They went home, and then they came back.
Oh, to be a guest on the show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought they were like loitering or something. I don't. That's kind
They're
of
waiting
fun.
for the showers to open.
And we've got more stuff going on. We've got it's a new Wisco weekend, like they all are. Lisa Hale hosts and does a great job with New Wisco Weekend. I have a classic movie pick. Do you have anything in the show this weekend?
Not this week, but I'm hoping next week to have an interview. But I'm going to keep that under wraps.
All right. Well, that's exciting. Good luck. And I have a classic movie pick, which I'm very excited about. I sort of have a Flag Day. Well, the whole episode has a Flag Day theme, and I picked a movie that I think kind of plays along with Flag Day. I like to do that whenever I can. And Kristen Lyerly show is on. I think I'm on that show this weekend, right?
You are.
Yeah. So Kristen and I will have fun. Check into Dr. Kristen Lyerly's Talker, if you will, this weekend. You have 2 chances to listen on Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Kristen does a great job. And we've got a fun show tonight. We've got a lot to get to, as usual. Friday is jam-packed. Starting us off at 6:35, actress and horror film fan, UP actress, I should say, Stephanie Gurnoe will be joining us here over the stream at 6:35. She's going to talk about a couple movies she's working on currently and that will be out soon. So we'll talk to Stephanie. She makes it all happen from Upper Michigan. I don't know. That's got to be... I think we had a comedian, Jessica Phillips, on the show months ago, and I did a gig with Jessica, who lives in Houghton, Michigan. And folks, if you're a stand-up comedian, or in Stephanie's case, an actress, there is some driving and some travel involved. And those are very remote places. Stephanie is based out of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Beautiful area. But man, that adds some challenges to a career as a working actress. But Stephanie will be here to tell us all about it at 6:35, as well as 2 new cool horror films she's in that will be out soon. And then at 7:05, comedian Steve Hofstetter will join us for a bit. Steve is a very funny guy, very hardworking comedian, and I really enjoy his comedy. He did a Dry Bar special. He's been on Fox Sports. I think he's won a Nobel Peace Prize, if I got that right, for comedy charity work. It's a very specific category, but what a cool thing. You ever won a Nobel Peace Prize, Konrad?
In my previous life.
Yeah. Prove it.
Well, I don't know if I can.
I don't believe. No, he's nominated. Okay, Steve was nominated. Oh, never mind. Nominated. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd take a nomination for anything. But Steve will be here at 7:05. He's performing in Appleton this weekend, so we'll get the details. And as I understand it, there are still a few seats open, but not many, because Steve packs them in. So he'll be here at 7:05, and then it is a bar band Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Barr is still on vacation. I think she is into maternity leave time at this point, but she is. This is her third Friday. She will not be with us. We miss Terry desperately, but her vacation is well earned. And filling in like he did the last couple weeks will be Rocker, her Max Inc. radio co-host. And Rocker's always fun to talk to as well on a Bar Band Friday night. So there you go. That's a show. Let's not waste any more time, Konrad. Let's get to the question of the night, shall we?
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda. Question.
Question.
Questions.
In honor of Father's Day, who is the best movie or TV dad? You can say who you'd want to be your dad or who you think was the best out of the dads you saw. Obviously, your own fathers are most likely irreplaceable. But if you had to, in honor of Father's Day, who was the best movie or TV dad? I think, it's weird. I usually give the question some thought. I really didn't tonight. So I'm going to kind of ruminate a little bit on this. I have a couple that come to mind. But we put the question out there. It's 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. You can text us on the app. Very easy. We're on statewide, so just click any of the stations. Are there Brewer games on tonight, Konrad? Are we preempted in any of the smaller markets?
Yeah, I believe so.
Do we know which ones? Let's go to the Google because I would love to hear from people on the app. But if you're watching on the stream, hey, that's fun too, folks. You can watch the radio. I'm wearing a really spiffy shirt tonight. I got my eyeglasses on, and I did not shave. So
I like it.
Yeah. Remember the should Pete grow a beard question? I'm almost in that territory right now.
Oh.
But I don't think I'm going to do that. I can't compete with Todd Michaels.
My old razor broke. And it had a good length. It was.
What do you mean your razor? The
electric razor. My electric razor broke. And it was getting to that time. Like it would take me about. I mean, you've seen me with a little more facial hair.
Yeah.
And you don't think that'd take long to shave, right?
Right.
It
But
almost took an hour with that thing.
It does with that old weed whacker.
So I spent a little change and I bought a new one. And it took me 10 minutes.
Why 10 minutes? That's a long time, right?
Not really.
For you use an electric razor and it takes you 10 minutes?
Before it took me an hour.
To shave your face?
That's how bad it was.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And now it only takes me about 10 minutes to get that really clean shave.
I got to be honest. I've never tried one of those.
Oh, my dad showed me, he let me use his, when I started growing facial hair.
Yeah.
I liked that way better than actually using a regular razor.
Interesting. I've always done the wet shave.
Really?
Always. And it takes me about 3 minutes to put shaving cream on and go to town. And I don't, that surprises me, even 10 minutes. That's because I thought about making the switch because it seemed easier and faster, but not according to what you're saying.
Well, I'd say give it a try.
All right.
Because
I'll be over after the show. I'd like to borrow your...
No, you don't.
It's very personal.
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay. That's a nice dad moment, though, speaking of Father's Day.
Yes.
And I remember I taught my son Joe to shave, and we have a picture of him holding the razor, and it was a very monumentous occasion in our house. That was fun. I don't know that my dad ever taught me to shave. He's very handy. He's rewired things. He's moved walls around in our house, but he never taught me any of that stuff. And he never taught me how to shave. I think I had to ask the neighbor to play catch. You know what? Come to think of it, I'm not really a fan of my father.
Wow. All right.
He's a good guy. He's got his good qualities. He did. I got none of his handy genes, though, and he never forced me to do it. And frankly, if he had, I would have probably resented him. So,
you know what? One of the genes I didn't get from my dad was how my dad relaxes from work by cleaning.
Oh, dear.
And I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate cleaning.
I don't mind it. When I put on headphones or I'll put some YouTube videos on, and I like to do it before I relax, but I don't think when I was your age, I don't think I did either.
Oh, no.
I was already living with my wife at the time, and she'd be like, you expect me to clean all this? And I'm like, no, I don't. It just doesn't bother me. Have a seat. Let's watch some color television. We'll clean it when we're ready. I don't know.
Yeah, those dishes don't bother me right now. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. But I've changed. I've evolved, as they say. So that is our question, folks. In honor of Father's Day, who was the best movie or TV dad? Let us know. You can let us know on the stream. If you happen to be watching the radio, you can check us out on YouTube, X, Twitter, or Facebook. So it'd be good to have you. Please chime in. We've got some great some comments we'll get to in just a minute. I want you to tell this story that you had today. You had an issue at a gas station with two old coots, and I've had similar. Here, I'm going to tell you how I handled it when I was your age and how I handle it now. So you go tell me what happened, because this is a good story.
Well, I had to go to Quick Trip.
You didn't have to.
As usual.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get gas, so I didn't have to do it tomorrow morning when I was driving to Milwaukee.
Okay.
And I pay inside, because I had some cash, and I opened the door for these two ladies behind me. One was a little older. One I probably was her daughter.
Okay.
And they're waiting by the door. And I'm like, all right, I'll hold the door open for them. So I open the door. They don't even look at me. They walk right past. They don't even say thank you. So I close the door, and I just shake my head.
You gave them the head shake.
Just walk into my car. I was like,
what else can you do?
How hard is it to say, hey, thank you?
Right. Some people think they're owed it. And what can you do? They're two old women. What do you can give? The head shake is about all you can do. You can't leg sweep them. You can't, give them it's just, I feel like some people feel like they're entitled to that. Like, well, I'm old, or I have a disability, or I'm just a jerk. Some people walk through like you're there to hold the door for them. I will say, when I was your age, it used to bother me more than it does now. I had an epiphany at one point where I was like, I'm not holding the door open for praise. I'm doing it because I want to be that kind of person that just tries to make someone's life that little bit much easier. But I say that, and there's been times I wanted to get people in a headlock.
I was just trying to be nice. All right, it's okay to be just a simple thank you. You're like, all right, you're welcome.
I don't know. Maybe they both thought the other was going to do it. Neither one of them did. Hey, we've got some texts I want to get to from last night's show. I always try to I try not to miss any texts, but we've had a couple here, and we were outside last night. Things got out of hand with the Papa Murphy's pizzas we were cooking on the grill. They were dynamite. Check out the chicken thigh. I think it was the chicken thigh pizza that was the best. So we had, where are my texts here, Konrad? What am I looking for here? We've got...
Well, when we were outside last night...
Yeah.
Steady Eddie chimed in a little too late.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it.
When we were already outside, it's kind of hard to...
I don't know if we would have got to that. It came in at 7:57. That's cutting it close.
Exactly.
Especially for the length, typically. The thought that Steady Eddie puts into his texts. He says, Pete, back in the day, late 60s, Tiny Tim became cultural TV and a musical sensation, taking the 1925 song Tiptoe Through the Tulips to number 17 on the top 40 charts. Great memory, Steady Eddie. He got married on Johnny Carson's show. Tiny Tim was a strange-looking man with a high and annoying singing voice. A strange man with little talent or creativity. So what I'm really saying, Pete, is that I still have a chance to be a cultural icon and bring home some serious cash. Steady Eddie. Tiny Tim died on stage in 1996. That's a great text. All right, we'll read Bud from Janesville's text that we got overnight. And I'm going to tell you, folks, what movie set had the most cocaine in the 80s. It might surprise you. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
All my instincts, they return. The grand facade.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Welcome back. It's a Friday edition of Nite Lite here on the Civic Media Radio Network. I am Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me. Konrad is sitting in the producer chair, and he's not just sitting there; he's actually producing. So that's good.
You know, I do have a pick for this question
for the dad.
Brian Mills.
Is that the dog from Family Guy?
That's Brian Griffin.
Who's Brian Mills?
Oh, come on. Taken. Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that's a good dad. Certainly protective. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get to, I want to read the text we have, but these are from last night where our question was, whose fame do you just not get? And I don't want to let these go. This one surprised me. Greg Schwem, syndicated columnist for Tribune Media Services. He's been on the show several times. He says, Owen Wilson. That's interesting. I like Owen Wilson. I think he's kind of quirky. But, I get it. Everything's subjective. Joel Karnick, Civic Media Zone, says, Charo. I don't disagree with you, Joel. I actually kind of do. Because she is really talented. She's vivacious and likable. But the only thing I would say in counter to what you're saying, Joel, is that she's a really good classical guitarist. And she's been on Nite Lite. So I'm loyal. Thanks, Joel. Alan Whitebird says, Pete Davidson. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what Pete Davidson really does. I know he was on Saturday Night Live. He's a stand-up comic. He did his own movie, but he's kind of he seems like he's segueing into that I'm just a celebrity status. And nobody really knows what his exact skill is. You like Pete Davis, Con?
Pete Davidson?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't mind him.
Okay. Alan Whitebird on social media. That's his celebrity. He doesn't understand. We have a phone call?
Yes, we do. This is Carmela from Milwaukee.
Carmela, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm great, especially now that I get to talk to you.
Oh, you're just a big sweet talker. It's great to have you. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I couldn't think of any dads. And then you said movies, and then I asked, it could be TV shows, but then I thought maybe Father of the Bride, Steve Martin's character.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
And then I wanted to add about the holding the door thing. And it goes both ways. I have been, and especially a Quick Trip. I swear I'm at a Quick Trip every day, at least once a day.
Like most people.
And, yeah, I know. And I also try to hold the door, and I do the eye roll like when I get some young whippersnapper, but it's not always young people too. And then I swear sometimes I'm holding the door for like 2 minutes, and it's like, okay, all right, next. Here we go. But that's okay.
That's the worst when it turns into like rush hour, everybody leaving, and somehow you get designated the door holder for like 5 minutes and you got a life to lead. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
all right,
awesome.
Have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you, Carmela. Have a great night.
Bye.
I'm going to say, all right, here's my dad's. I have 3. Howard Cunningham from Happy Days. He could be a little crabby, but he was always there. And he just seemed real. Like he wasn't a fantasy dad, like just the guy who's always the greatest guy. He, ran a small hardware store. He could be kind of cranky at night. He argued with his wife sometimes. But at the end of the day, just a great dad. I actually have 4. Phil Dunphy from Modern Family. Love Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of wishy-washy. Kind of wussy a little bit, but just a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. James Evans Sr., from Good Times, played by John Amos. Loved him. A real kind of a hard guy when he had to be, but also kind of a big softy. Raising his family in the Cabrini Green housing projects in Chicago. Was always there, until they killed off his character. But love James Evans Sr. And then, of course, Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is just a knucklehead with a very low IQ. But a good dad at the end of the day. And funny. What about you, Con?
Homer does choke out his son a lot, though.
Look, the guy's got his quirks. Okay. Hey, we have do you have a dad? Oh, you already said that. Yeah.
For a TV show?
Either one.
I would say I really found him funny, and it's Ross and Monica's dad in
Elliot
Friends.
Gould. Yeah, he was very funny.
Yeah,
Our little
super funny.
harmonica. Yeah, he was a funny dad. All right, so I teased this before the break, so we need to play it. I was just scrolling through Instagram. Anderson Cooper is interviewing Barry Diller, one of the most famous TV and movie executives ever. And this was their conversation about coked up movie sets. And I just got the biggest kick out of this, and it surprised me.
Most coked up film set.
Coked up film set? Oh, Popeye. No, you can watch. By the way, you can watch it. If you watch Popeye, you're watching a movie that you think of it in the thing they used to do about record speeds, 33, whatever. This is a movie that runs at 78 RPM and 33 speed. It is a coke.
You visited the set, and
I did,
and you would instantly knew everybody's coked up.
You knew it. You couldn't escape it. They were actually shipping in film cans at the time. That film cans would be sent back to LA for daily processing of the film. This was shot in Malta, and we found out that the film cans were actually being used to ship cocaine back and forth to this set.
Wow!
Everyone was stoned.
The cocaine has always frightened the living daylights out of me. Ever since Len Bias died, I think he had just gotten drafted by the Boston Celtics. It always freaked me out. Never wanted to go anywhere near it. But that story did crack me up. We have a guest on Monday, folks, Phil Krause. He owns the Time Community Theater in Oshkosh. And I told him I would give a shout out because he's coming on the show on Monday. But they're playing the Magnificent Seven at the Time Community Theater in Oshkosh on Father's Day. The 2016 version with Jonathan Joss, who was just killed, actually, by a gunman. Jonathan Joss was... I'm already blanking. What show is he on? I got to pull up Phil's text. But anyway, The Magnificent Seven, 2016, great film. Check it out at the Time Community Theater in Oshkosh if you're looking for Father's Day plans. When we come back, horror film extraordinaire personality and actress Stephanie Gurnoe will be here. It's Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite. We are coming right back on the Civic Media Radio Network.
She's somehow closer now. Softly smile, I know she must be kind.
Hey, this is Adam Brody, and you're listening to Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Down, down, down. Come on! We get dressed up and we go out before night.
Welcome back. So great to have you with me on this Friday night, folks. Friday the 13th, as we head into the weekend with some just absolutely lovely weather, at least here in the studio. Wanted to read a text we got last night, too, from Bud. Bud is out delivering papers between 4 and 6 a.m. down in the Madison area. And he says, hey, Pete and Konrad. The reason I said that was because he listens to the rebroadcast. You ever listen to the rebroadcast, Konrad?
I don't say that I'm up that early, so...
Well, thanks a lot. Thought you were serious about the show. Okay. Bud says, hey, Pete and Konrad, I don't get rappers. This is in response to our question last night, whose celebrity do you not understand? He says, I watched Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance, and first of all, I couldn't understand him, and second, there doesn't seem to be much musicianship involved. Now get off my lawn. Love the show. Bud from Janesville. Thank you, Bud. You know what? It's interesting. I have actually become a Kendrick Lamar fan since that halftime show. My kids are both into Kendrick, and I totally get him now. And I would say the same for a lot of performers. You can't understand what they're saying, so I don't know that it was definitely a rap thing or whatever. It's just, people get into playing the part and all that kind of stuff. I know all of Springsteen's lyrics because I know and love Springsteen, but I don't know that I would know everything anybody is saying. But, yeah, I get that, Bud. I don't know a ton about rap either, but... thank you for the text, and drive carefully out there, and we will stay off your lawn. Okay. One more thing before we get to our guest. Konrad, Cam earlier texted this in. I thought this was great. We've been talking lately about, I celebrate colored television, folks.
Yep.
And movies. I love it. I'm an inside guy. I love everything about entertainment. I love movies, TV, yada, yada. So I say, let's celebrate ourselves. And I have referred to listeners of Nite Lite previously as... I still can't even say it. Couch potatoes. Couch potatoes. Pete potatoes. So this is what Cam, one of our listeners, put together. I just love this. Conrad's going to post it in the stream right now. That's horrifying. And you know what that is? Look at how straight my hair is.
Yeah, it's definitely not that way.
It's my face superimposed on a potato. It's a couch potato. And what happened was on Facebook, my daughter, at the beginning of COVID, I let her straighten my hair if she let me watch John Prine videos, because John Prine was one of the first casualties of COVID. So she straightened my hair, and we posed for a picture together in the mirror, and that's the picture. So Cam found the picture of me with straight hair, which is I don't know. Thank you, Cam. I think that's not a good picture, but it's better than my high school graduation picture. I will say that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pivot here and talk about some acting, primarily in horror films. My next guest has never been on the show before, but I thank God for social media, because every once in a while someone pops up as a friend suggestion, and I'm like, oh, an actress. Oh my gosh, from the UP. So I had to send a friend request and try to get her on the show, and we did just that. Stephanie Gurnoe joins me now on Nite Lite. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Pete. Thanks so much for having me.
I am in awe of you because you live so far. Like where I live in Marinette. First of all, I think I told you this in our exchange. Every time I see someone from the UP, I'm like, oh my God, I live right across the river from the UP. Well, the UP is giant. It's like, you're like 6 hours from me or whatever it is. So
yeah, all the way on the eastern side. Canada's my backyard. So.
That is great. Because there's a Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and then one in Canada too, right?
Yep, that's right.
So, all right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How you're an actor. How did you get into this racket? And how do you make it work from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan?
Yeah. Okay. So I've been acting since I was in high school. I'm 35 years old. So, a long time. Yeah. I did a lot of stage theater. And actually, I hadn't got introduced into film until 2 years ago. One of my friends that I did stage acting with, they decided they were going to just make a movie here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, called Killer Cabbage. And so that was my first step into, the actual film life. And that was a really fun movie to do. I play a reporter, and it's set like it's the only part of the film that like goes back to black and white, and we do like the old timey the detective shows almost,
like
so
a film noir type.
Yeah,
nice.
So it gives that little bit of throwback, but it's about killer cabbages that come to Earth and try to take over. So
I love it.
Yeah, and so that just kind of started the whole snowball from there. There were a couple of people involved in that project that loved it so much, they also wanted to try their hand at filmmaking. So there was another project that was done last year called Yooper Frankenstein.
Yes.
And that is in post-production right now. It should be almost ready, but that's going to show throughout UP theaters. So I'm really excited to, so we're trying to like put the UP on the map. Like we do exist up here.
And it's such a great place to film. I mean, there's so many. Right. I mean, you can't really do a big city thing, but like it's so beautiful up there, and you've got the lakes and you've got the forest, and there have been some great, like Anatomy of a Murder was filmed up in Marquette, and so I think it's great. And why not the UP? So, all right, so you've got this film, Killer Cabbage. Have you ever heard of a film called The Giant Spider Invasion?
I have. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of B movies. I love indie film, and I love that they just like go outside the box, but go ahead.
Well, I was just asking because this Killer Cabbage kind of reminds me of, just sort of like the Giant Spider Invasion was in the mid-'70s, and we've had the director on the show before, and I love like you said, I like the B movies too. And Killer Cabbage, Yooper Frankenstein though. Please tell us what Yooper Frankenstein is.
So Yooper Frankenstein is kind of our take on the classic Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It is about a scientist whose wife tragically dies in a lab accident, and the scientist is trying to master the art of reanimation. My character comes in as one of the lead neurologists in the nation and kind of helps him create this monster. And so it really is just like a horror play, but with a Yooper twist.
Does Frankenstein have a UP accent? That's what I want to know.
Unfortunately, he does not.
Okay.
So,
he doesn't say much to
but
begin with.
There are some UP accents that are dropped. There's some, jokes that only Yoopers or people who are familiar with the UP will understand, like littered throughout it. So it's fun. It's a fun throwback.
That's great. Now, you're also credited as a writer on that film.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a collaborative effort. We had Dave Cairns wrote the original script, and then like as more of our minds got together, we just kind of all added to it, like made some tweaks, threw out some ideas. So he was kind enough to kind of give me a writing credit with some of my ideas that I had towards the film.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us, if you would, Stephanie. My guest is Stephanie Gurnoe. She is a UP-based actress living in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We're talking about some of the films she's done. I just love the title, Yooper Frankenstein. Is that available anywhere to see or stream?
Almost. So
Okay.
it's still in post-production. It's almost
Oh.
done with the editing process. So hopefully like within the next couple of months, we should be doing like some UP theater releases for that. So,
Very nice.
I'll be posting on social media about that once that is actually happening.
Okay, outstanding. Talk a little bit, if you would, Stephanie, about the limitations you have because of where you live. And you probably didn't know you were going to start film acting when you moved to or grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. I don't know if you have a family now or what, but you probably have commitments that will keep you there. How do you make this work? Because obviously every movie can't be shot in Sault Ste. Marie.
Right. I have the most supportive husband. He just loves making me happy, and he knows that this makes me happy. And so I have 2 children. One is about to turn 18, and then I've got a 15-year-old son who plays hockey because, of course, you can't live in the UP and not play hockey. But they all love what I do. They think it is the coolest thing ever, which I wasn't sure, especially with my kids, if they were going to be embarrassed that mom is acting or if they were going to think that it was cool. But they're super supportive. So some of the issues and the challenges that come with that is obviously travel. There's a lot of opportunities downstate that I find like casting calls for. And thankfully, I do have some family that lives down there. So if there ever is a project that's down in that area, I can go and stay with them. But I've actually been flying out to LA to film some stuff out there. So, you got to be willing to travel, especially when you live in an isolated area.
Oh, and how, sister? So let's talk about the 2 films you said you were filming in LA, because I think I told you, everybody I know, friends of mine who are working actors and work all the time, say the town is dead. And I've got a son looking into possibly moving out there, and everyone's like, don't come now, it's dead, it's dead. And then here, my new friend Stephanie says, oh, I'm in 2 movies and we're shooting them in LA. You're like the only working actress in LA. Tell us about those projects, if you would.
So I owe it all to Dustin Ferguson, who is a director, and he owns the production company called SoCal Cinemas. He is like the king of horror out there. I think he has like 162 horror movies under his belt at this point. Yeah. So I did a short for him back in earlier this year called VHS Violence, and he really liked what we did on this short. And so we've been in contact with him, and he wanted me to go out there and film some stuff with him. So I actually just got back last week for filming a movie called Life Forms 3, which will be out on Tubi this fall.
Nice.
Yeah. And then like once that was done, he was like, I got another one for you called Man Eater. And I'm really excited about Man Eater because Walter Phelan, who is also most commonly known as Dr. Satan in House of a Thousand Corpses, and Sue Lanier, who was in the original Wes Craven Hills Have Eyes, have also been cast in this movie. Yeah, so like my teenage self is kind of freaking out right now that I get to act with such, bigger named actors, because I never thought that I would be doing this at all, let alone acting with them.
Great little milestones too, when you meet people you've seen on screen, or you're like, oh my gosh, pinch me. I literally just started The Hills Have Eyes about 2 weeks ago, and I got about halfway into it because I had never seen it before. So I imagine that is something that was probably something you saw quite a bit of growing up. My guest is Stephanie Gurnoe. She's a UP-based actress, getting it done from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. When we come back, I want to ask you, what should we ask Stephanie Konrad?
Talk about horror movies.
Well, we're going to talk about horror movies, and I want to ask you, Stephanie. We'll do this after the break. Think about what other kind of movies you would want to do, because you've got horror down on your. I'm looking at your IMDb page right now, and you seem to have mastered that. So we'll talk about some other films when we come back. We're going to do a very short break. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Welcome back. This is Nite Lite. I am Pete Schwaba. We are crushing a Friday night here. A few minutes left here in hour number 1 before intermission. Our question tonight is in honor of Father's Day. Who was the best movie or TV dad? I said Howard Cunningham, Phil Dunphy, James Evans Sr. From Good Times, and Homer Simpson. And Konrad said, who did you say, Konrad?
Brian Mills, Liam Neeson, and Taken.
Right. That's a good one. And, of course, obviously, our own dads are our favorite. But Mike Desitel on the social media says, in modern times, I would say Lance Barber. His role and the way he portrayed it grew better with each passing season. He faced real issues in his relationship with his TV daughter and was genuinely solid, as I've seen in years. Lance Barber, obviously, was on the show Monday night. He played George Cooper on Young Sheldon and was with me in The Godfather of Green Bay. Lance is a great guy, and that's a great choice. Thank you, Mike. Nathan says Bill Cosby. What the hell is Nathan thinking?
Yeah, I think
that has to be a joke.
It's opposite day for the question or something.
Comedian, yeah. And Monica Hale says Robert Duvall and the Great Santini. Okay, maybe not the best, but at least realistic. Oh man, that's brutal. I'm sorry to hear that, Monica. Great movie though. Thank you for the text, Monica. Always fun. All right, we have a few more minutes with our guest, Stephanie Gurnoe. She is a Sault Ste. Marie-based actress, and she is the star of many independent horror films. She just finished filming 2 projects in Los Angeles, and Yooper Frankenstein comes out soon. You have to keep us posted, Stephanie, on when we can see Yooper Frankenstein. I'm very excited to see that.
I definitely will.
All right. So who are your acting influences? Like when you grew up, you already mentioned one of them was In the Hills Have Eyes, but who did you watch growing up, and who did you think, like maybe 2 years ago when you started film acting, I want to model my career after hers or his? Who did you learn from?
Honestly, like I really loved Helen Bonham Carter, and just her way of being authentically these characters, over the top, horror icon. Like she is my inspiration. She is who I really want to be like, and really just like all these Jamie Lee Curtis. All the classic horror, Final Girls,
Yeah,
that's
great. Those are all great. Have you ever been to Mackinac Island?
Of course, yes. It's been a few years, but I love it out there. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's like one of our favorite places, and I always thought that would be a great place to shoot a horror film.
I know. The Grand Hotel there. Yeah.
Which is supposed to be haunted anyway.
Right. So we could actually do something with that.
Definitely.
All you filmmakers out there, let me know.
Send Stephanie your ideas. Exactly. So are you a native of Sault Ste. Marie? Like, is that where you grew up?
Yeah, so I was born and raised here in Sault Ste. Marie. I moved away to the Tampa Bay area for a little while and ended up coming home to raise my family because, small towns, you can't beat a small town to raise your kids.
Yeah. Especially when it's what you know, and you had good experiences there. So that's That's excellent. So what other kind of acting do you want to do? Is there a role you want that's not horror related? Would you like to be in a rom-com or an action film or something?
So horror is my everything. So I would be very happy with just staying in this category. But if I had to choose something else, it would be like very drama, something very serious, or action. Like that Life Forms one, I got to kill a bunch of aliens. So that was pretty fun. Yeah. So I could do another action film.
That's great. Well, Stephanie, we'll be paying attention. Let us know when these films come out, and we'll have you back on and keep us posted about how things are going. It's been really nice getting to know you tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, break a leg.
Thanks.
I shouldn't say that to someone who's in horror films. But, that's Stephanie Gurnoe, folks, UP-based actress, and we should have done, Konrad, is had her do like a horror scream. We'll do that next time. You would have had to be ready for that anyway. So, all right, in just a few minutes, folks, after intermission, Steve Hofstetter will be here, and we have a little sampling of his comedy. He's at the Skyline this weekend in Appleton. He's going to join us after the break, and here is a small sample of Steve's comedy from his Dry Bar special.
My trick is to bring a pillow with me, like a full bedroom pillow. Every flight. And I was flying home from a gig, and I put the pillow down, I put my head down. And the flight attendant comes racing over. And she says, "You can't have a pillow in the exit row." And I said, "But I do. It appears we're at an impasse." She said, "Well, what happens if we crash?" I said, "It'll help." It's a pillow. I don't know if you know much about these, but they're soft, they float. Those are the qualities of something I'd like to bring with me to a plane crash. If I knew that we were going to crash, I could bring anything in the world. I'd bring a pillow and a second plane. Those would be the two things I'd like to have. She said, "No, what if we crash and the pillow falls? Someone has to get by it. What will you do?" I said, "Oh, in that case, I'll let them step on my pillow. Because I'm not a monster." And you'd have to be for someone to be on fire, screaming, and just say, "Could you please watch the pillow?"
That's Steve Hofstetter. He'll be here after the news. Did we give Cam a shout out for making the couch potato?
Yes.
Did we mention Cam? I know we showed the image he did, but okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we got it.
He messaged that on the Todd Alba show.
Yeah, which is which we talked earlier about that. That's so cool. Okay, so we're going to be back, folks. I got to read Kurt's text, though. He says, our question of the night is, who's your favorite movie or TV dad? And Kurt Krause on the stream, watching on the stream, says, when Malcolm in the Middle came to Fox in about 1999 or 2000, we literally had friends call the house saying, "You got to see this show. This is your family." They were pretty much spot on. So best TV dad is Hal, played by the brilliant Bryan Cranston. That's awesome, Kurt. Chad Fran says, "Hey, Pete." Hey, Chad. Thanks for listening, buddy, or watching. Dave on the stream says, "Dad on Shameless, William Macy." That's fantastic. All right, we're coming back. We'll read more of your texts after the news, and we'll have Steve Hofstetter here. He will be here, and it's Bar Band Friday night. It's Pete Schwaba, Nite Lite, Civic Media Radio Network.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.